everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're excited to show you how to implement an IT ticketing system in Office 365 and Teams. My name is Krista White. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Crow Canyon, and I'm joined today by James Restivo, our VP of Product Development, and Ryan Stefani, our Sales Executive. And we are Microsoft Preferred Business Applications. And we are also a California certified small business and GSA certified as well. We've been in business for 24 years, so we know a thing or two about what we do, and we're excited to share that with you today. Now, before we get started, I have just a couple of housekeeping things that I would like to share with you. We would love to make this as interactive as possible. We don't want to talk at you today, so don't be shy. Go ahead and use that question box in the GoToWebinar panel. We've got, we'll be keeping an eye out for your questions, and we're happy to answer them. And yes, there will be a recording. I see questions are already coming in. Yes, we will record this, and we will send it out to you. So no worries, you will get all of this. So you can just listen in. You don't have to worry about taking notes or anything. Just drink it in. And we will also be focusing on a high-level sort of overview today. There's so much we would love to share with you, but we do want to be respectful of everyone's time, so we're going to just keep it brief and just give you a quick overview of what we have here. But we're happy to schedule a one-on-one demo if you would like to see more and talk about how this might work for your specific organization. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, who we are, Crow Canyon. What we do is we help businesses succeed with Office 365, Teams, and SharePoint. And our specialties are business applications. We've got innovative out-of-the-box solutions, NITRO Studio forms and workflows. Yes, we are the creators of NITRO. You may have heard of us. Then that's a no-code application creation platform. And last but not least, our chatbots and apps for Microsoft Teams include advanced features that power productivity. Now, all of our products run in Office 365, including GCC and GCC High, as well as SharePoint 2013, 2016, and 2019. And we have 3 different options for our IT help desk. We do get a lot of questions, so I just want to go over this quickly before we dive in. There are a few different setups depending on what you need. Our standard IT help desk setup is just a robust, cost-effective solution for managing IT support. We do also have an IT help desk professional, which includes asset management as well. And then we have the IT service desk bundle, which includes everything I've already mentioned, plus project manager, contract renewal, and purchasing. So that's a full service desk to meet the demands of larger organizations. Now, I'd like to go ahead and dive in and turn things over to James. James, what do you have for us today?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Krista. So yeah, today I'm going to walk you through the Teams interaction that you get with our help desk. And this is something we've been working on a lot recently, and we still have more things to be coming down the line in the future, because we know Teams is where a lot of people are interacting with Office 365 today. That being said, we still have a full-featured help desk available, which Ryan will be showing to you a little bit later in this webinar. So he'll be able to walk you through the back-end details of it, but I wanted to show you from the Teams aspect what you can do, what your users can do, and how they can easily create tickets, update tickets. Your staff can easily pick up tickets and look at tickets, all within the context of Teams. And there's a lot behind this. As Krista said, this is really a high-level overview. And if you're interested in more, certainly reach out, and we'll be happy to have a deeper discussion with you about your specific needs. But this is going to show you what you can do from the end user and staff perspective from within Teams. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you through kind of the day in the life, or day in the life of the ticket, essentially, of Pavan Kumar, who's on my screen that you're seeing right now. I am going to switch over to another screen, which has myself, James Restivo, logged in as a staff member, who will be picking up tickets and working them. Pavan's running into an issue, and he's going to submit a ticket. But first, he's going to search the knowledge base and see if he can find anything, and then submit a ticket if he doesn't find anything. So let's kind of walk through it. We got Pavan over here in his Teams world. He's got the NITRO Engage app already up. but you can easily see that, let's say he's like just looking at chat, looking at Teams, whatever it might be, wherever he is in here, the NITRO Engage bot is just a click away. So he can go and click into NITRO Engage and then start asking his questions. So if he wanted to ask a question or say something like his PC is having issues, PC crashing, we say something like that, we can just go ahead and put that in there and it's going to come back with some kind of response of that. So we got some commands here. You can see it was an invalid command, but that's okay because now we have some options for Pavan to interact with this bot, with this NITRO Engage app. So what he's going to do is he's going to go ahead and search the knowledge base articles, and he's going to try his response, his query again. And it's going to pull up a list of articles that is going to, oh shoot, it was just working just a moment ago. Let me try that, PC crashes. Yeah, there we go. So we got the article that came back, and we can obviously, this can be configured to look for close text to that as well. Just wasn't set up for that, but you got the PC crashing your article, you can pull it open, it's going to open up the article within the portal so they can take a look at it. Pavan can see if it's solving his problem or not. And let's say it doesn't, and he's saying, oh, you know what, this is not really solving my problem. I'm going to go ahead and submit a ticket. So he clicks the submit a ticket link, and now we can go through a few different questions on how to categorize his ticket. It's a hardware problem, and we're going to say that it's a desktop problem, and it's going to create a ticket. So this will go and create a ticket in the tickets list, which Ryan will show you in the back end, and you'll see where it comes up over there. And also Pavan gets a confirmation that says, hey, this was created, and you can see it. Now I'm going to switch back over to James, where I'm going to be the staff person picking up a ticket. And I have a couple different options to view unassigned tickets. If I wanted to even just see all the commands, I can do that. Essentially, James has gone through, he's looked at his tickets, he's got nothing open at the moment. Let me go ahead and pull up a list of the unassigned tickets and see what's out there. And so I'm going to pull up my view all unassigned tickets, and that's going to pull up the list of the tickets that aren't assigned, and he sees this one and he's going to pull it up and say, you know what, I'm going to pick this one up because I got nothing else going on right now. And there you go. So now you can see there's the ticket that was just created by Pavan, and it's got case ID, it's got some information. A lot of this is configurable about what you want to put on it. And then you can always click over, see the request in the browser. But importantly, right within Teams, again, I have not left the context of Teams yet. I think you realize. But so James is picking this up as assigned to himself. He could enter a work log comment if he wanted to. In this case, he's not going to do that. So go ahead and hit OK. Ticket successfully assigned. And then again, update that the ticket, there was a ticket assignment. So this will come out even when a ticket is assigned to James separately from this process. So anytime that gets assigned over, he'll get a notification in the NITRO Engage app that says you've got a ticket assigned to you, and you can go take some work, do something on it. And you can ask questions. And in this case, the James is not really familiar with Pavan, like where he's located. Sorry to hear you have issues. Where are you located? And so we send that over, work log gets updated, and then what happens is that Pavan is going to get a notification on his team. So I just switch back over to that, where he says he sees the comment. Sorry to hear you have issues. Where are you located? So you got that comment in there, and then he can make a note that says second floor near HR, or you can put his actual location, 6305 or whatever, 2305, let's say, and add the comment. So he's going to put that in there. And now, because James is the assignee, he's going to get a notification, and I'm going to pop back over to that. That says what I just put in through Pavan's comment. Second floor near HR, location 2305. And then, so James can now add a note that says, sounds good, see you soon. And as that comment. So now we've got the comment going into that ticket. That all gets recorded into the back end as well. And I'll show you that in just a moment. But then you'll see that Pavan gets that comment update as well. Sounds good. See you soon. Now, if we go back to the James screen for just a moment. Oops, over here. So at any point in time, we can come out of the context of Teams and go into the context of where the help desk lives in SharePoint and take a look at the actual ticket that was created. And we can see all those comments going back and forth on the work log. So everything we put into Teams is going to be recorded on the back end as well. And like I said, Ryan will kind of show this back end in more detail, but you can see that everything we're doing in Teams is getting recorded on that ticket. So you don't have to come out of the context of Teams to make updates. You don't even have to send emails. You don't have to clutter their inbox. You can just do everything through the Teams engagement. So then on the, let's say James goes and talks to Pavan, gets it resolved. Pavan will now come over, pull up his ticket, and he's going to add a note, and he's going to say, PC is working now. Thank you very much. Right, so he's going to make that comment, and then he's going to add that in. And now, again, James will get that comment over on his screen. So I'll switch back over to the James screen. And now James has an option to add another note, reassign it, or resolve it. And we're going to go ahead and resolve it. Thanks for the confirmation. Happy to help. And we hit OK. Now the ticket's going to become a resolved ticket. And so all through the context of Teams, we've done this entire ticket. You know, obviously some work might have to be done in real life, like on the actual computer, but ultimately your recording of the work is all done through the Teams interface. If we needed to send a reset to his computer, we could have done that, and that's all automated. But then ultimately you'll see that this ticket over here, it was assigned. I'm going to refresh this now, and it's going to be marked as resolved or closed, probably resolved, and then yeah, marked as resolved, and there you go. So now it's marked as done. So that's all through the Teams interface, and the real benefit and power behind this comes from the interaction between this Engage app in Teams and the NITRO workflows that are running behind it. And those NITRO workflows are there for the help desk. They're there for other solutions that we offer as well. But they are very, very powerful and have this deep interaction between the two of them, where you can do approval processes in the same way, where you have an approval button that comes up on the screen for the user to approve it, and cascading approvals where the next person will get that notification in the Engage app and take it from there. And we also have Manish on the call, who's from our development team. And Manish, you've done a lot of work with this Engage app and the workflows. So what are some of the other cool things that we can do here with the Engage app and workflows?
Hey, thanks, James. I think amazing demo. It was cool to see how the entire ticket lifecycle can be managed just within the Teams using the NITRO app, NITRO Engage app. So just a couple of cool features which are really exciting. So this entire flow that we all saw with James, it is not hard-coded. This is entirely configurable. As James talked about, this NITRO Engage app is powered by the NITRO workflow, which is the business process automation engine in the backend. So all the actions, the entire flow, every command that you see is configurable. So if in your business process, you want to add some more commands, or you want to remove these commands, you want to permission these commands, you want to show the entire look and feel, the way this card shows up, you want to show different properties. So everything is configurable as per your business requirement, your process requirement. That is one very important aspect. The entire process is configurable. Second, this entire thing is powered by the AI. So while James was he clicked on the command, but as a user, if you are more comfortable with the keyboard, you can just type in. You can just type in to say, view my unassigned tickets as a staff. And then the system will understand, okay, it will pass what you're trying to say. It will try to match to the best command. And then it will show you the relevant commands if there are multiple commands. And you can just work with the keyboard and powered by the AI ML. So those are the two very important, cool aspects of this entire NITRO Engage app. So, yep. So any other business workflow that you want can be configured using the NITRO Engage app.
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks, James.
Yeah, thank you, Manish. Appreciate that. Thank you for fleshing that out a little bit as far as what you can do and having that interaction. We did have a couple of questions come in during the demo of the NITRO Engage piece of this. Every time I want to see updates on the ticket, do we need to refresh the page? Well, yeah, I mean, if you're in the context of the SharePoint browser, you would refresh the page to do that. But we can also have auto refresh happen on list views, where you can go and have that auto refresh feature on a list view page. Like, let's say you're over on a Workspace, or let's say you're on this all tickets page. There can be an auto refresh feature every 30 seconds, every minute or so, where it's going to refresh and show you the updates to the tickets, and then you can go click into the ticket, so you see those updates that way. We had another question. Yeah, go ahead, Manish.
Just want to add one more thing to it, James. So yes, as part of the demo, we were showing like you can go to the backend, but actually you don't need to. The entire lifecycle management can be done within the teams using the Engage app. Like as a staff, you can view your tickets, you can view all unassigned tickets. So anything that as a staff you need to do in the help desk system, they all can be configured within the NITRO Engage app and can be worked upon from there. So you actually don't need to go to the backend for to see any of those updates. Yes, you are absolutely, you can go, but yes, so they don't need to be like that you need to go here and then you need to go there. The entire life cycle can be managed within the Engage app.
That's right. That's right. And on that note, there was another similar question kind of along those same lines, Manish, about the ticket being resolved and possibly reopening it through the context of Teams. And yeah, that is possible, where you can go to the Teams app and see what tickets have been completed, what tickets have been done. And for that, I'm going to switch back over to the Pavon Teams interface over here, click on commands to bring up the list of commands, the bot commands that we can put in place. And you're going to view tickets. So right now we have a view my open IT tickets option. We could also create a view my closed tickets option. We could put more information here for those tickets. And then when the person sees their view my closed tickets, they can click that closed ticket, and that's going to bring up the card for that ticket, and then there could be a button here to reopen that ticket. So yeah, it's not configured here in this demo, but that is possible to reopen a ticket through Teams without having to go into a different, go back into the back end or go into the SharePoint space where this is. That's going to, you can keep them in the context of Teams for all those things. And that goes back to Manish's point about the configurability of this, where you can go and make it the way you want it to be. These buttons are configurable. You can add new ones. It's very easy to do that. Now, we're going to put a few questions in about, do I have to use Teams? Are there other ways to do this? Well, that's why we have Ryan here to talk about the Omnichannel option. So I want to show you the Teams piece of this, where you can do the engagement through Teams, but there are other ways, and we've had these other options for a number of years, where you can do email tickets, you can create tickets directly in the site. So there's a number of different ways you can do that. Great. We're getting lots of questions. Keep them coming. And with that, Ryan, I'll go ahead and pass the baton to you to take you through the back end of the site, and so you see what else you can do here beyond what you can do with the Teams engagement.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, James. I'm going to turn the questions over to you as I furiously type answering here.
I appreciate that. Yeah, let me just click over and make sure you're a presenter. Okay, I think you grabbed it, so you're good.
Cool. Show my screen. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the Crow Canyon suite and the functionality of the applications above and beyond, the Teams aspect and that interface, and how we can present a few other options to end users for ticket creation, as well as what the interface for the technician could look like working out of a browser. So I'm going to be walking through IT and assets today, how those are connected. We do have that third option, like Krista mentioned, the full service, being able to spin up a purchase request from an asset, or manage contracts or projects from an IT request, or in any way those lists can be connected. I'm not going to have time to get through that in its entirety today, But if you do want to come back and take a look at those other ancillary applications, just let us know. Be happy to set up a demo and talk through anything that we talked about today, as well as how those applications interact with help desk and assets. Okay, so IT help desk. James and Manish hit the nail, pretty well on the head about the different groups, right, and how those different groups interact with the application. In this case, from the team's perspective. Essentially, we break it down into 3 different permission groups when talking and working with applications. And this is something that has come off the backs of years and years of SharePoint work. Speaking specifically about me and my interaction with our team here, I'm the least tenured SharePoint Office 365 person, and I've been in it for 10 years. So there's a lot of time and effort and best practices that have gone into the development of the tool. And that is directly applied to the permission structure in place. So you have your end users, your ticket submitters. We're looking at the technician view right now, your IT staff, and then we also have the admin area where we can configure notifications, categorizations, which we'll get into in a second. And then here you also have access to that NITRO Studio, that platform that everyone was talking about, really throughout the whole webinar, and I will admit you're going to hear it from me a few more times before the call's over. But it is the ability to make the application your own. I get a lot of kickback. I do demos, 3, 4, 5 a day at times, and a lot of the frustration I get from customers that switch over to NITRO and Crocanian is that their current help desk doesn't have flexibility or doesn't listen to feedback from them and be willing to make changes that are going to accommodate them. And the positive thing here about Office 365, in this case SharePoint and Teams, is that you have this flexibility built into the tool set. This comes with the application, so you can work with us to make those changes, or you can be comfortable, take training, and make those changes on your own, so you're not tied to us in that regard. Sure, we support it. We're still here to be relied upon, and I will say that's a big piece as well. But you do have that ability to go out and make this your own tool set. So now jumping into that omnichannel and that end user experience above and beyond Teams, we also have email and texting, right? In any situation where you're having requests come in, whether it be IT, I think I saw mentioned earlier about HR, things like that. You have this ability to send an email to a shared inbox and have that shared inbox automatically create a ticket. And this is one of the more understated features of NITRO, I think, is this email sync functionality. And it's basically being able to do exactly what I explained. Who sent the email? What did they say? What was the title? What was the body? And then pull that information into the request, as well as maybe any attachments, the original email itself, and then even going above and beyond and being able to parse information from the body of the email or the header of the email to write back to the particular ticket, right? So a lot of flexibility in that regard from email to ticket creation. Same thing goes for text, right? Same principle, same idea, being able to text a number and have that text create a ticket in the ticketing system. Who sent it, what they said, title, and then mapping that over to the respective columns within the ticket itself. So very much like that crawl, walk, run mentality, right? Email, text, and then the Teams aspect. Now they showed, James and me showed one aspect of Teams, and while I'm here, I just want to touch on one other. When the pandemic hit, I think there was a small positive, I could say, in people's interaction or comfortability with the Teams space. And let's call a spade a spade. Teams is the purple interface to SharePoint, and it's Skype and Teams, or Skype and SharePoint had a baby and Teams was created, or maybe SharePoint had a negative connotation in older iterations of it, but Teams is now widely accepted and widely used by most of our users, right? So by being able to not only interact with the engaged piece, but also just being able to have that self-service portal, that mentality of self-service embedded in a Teams channel or a Teams app is also here as well. So everything inside of NITRO Studio is flexible in that regard. Not only is it built on top of SharePoint lists and have that flexible form interface, but it can also be presented to the users in the team space as well. And you can see here that it's auto-populating their information for them. It's recognizing who they're logged in as and being able to show their requester info. But if they're requesting on behalf of somebody else, it's simply find the person, type their info in, and be able to select them, and their information pops up. So very, very simple in that regard when it comes to submitting a request for your end user as well. Being able to select, cascading lookups, drop downs to be able to specify their problem, and then rich text environment. Screenshots, copy paste, snips, attachments, right? However they need to communicate to you what the issue is, they can from the form, from Teams. Hit save, they get the warm and fuzzies. You're gonna hear me say that a few times, the warm and fuzzies. The green thumbs up that their ticket's been submitted successfully, and then we actually have a view built in for them on the portal as well, where they can view the status of their requests. So you saw the automated side of it with Engage and being able to get on the fly updates, but if you want to come back and be able to search KBs again, or just view the status on your request, you absolutely can, and even going back and seeing closed tickets as well. So this is something that some of our customers have found useful in that regard, being able to point users to previously submitted tickets under the same header and title, right? Because you can only reset someone's password so many times before you say, hey, go check your closed tickets, right? So to sum it up from a ticket submission perspective, email, text, self-service portal, Engage. That we have a wide variety of options for the users to submit a request to IT. And I'm saying IT, but really when we're talking about requests and request management, it could be targeted towards any department, right? I think HR came up earlier, facilities, marketing. Really, we see this tool used for a slew of different departments, IT being the main focus, but having that connectability to reach multi-departments of the organization has helped. Now, once a ticket is submitted, right, we hit the back end. And it's like, okay, what do I need as an IT member to flesh this out and make it, an IT application? Well, it's very much built with ITL in mind. All those practices that you're used to having: change request, problem management, incident management, and then being able to assign and categorize requests as you see fit. So now just quickly, as we walk through that ticket submission process. So we just pretended that a ticket comes in through one of those channels that I've suggested, and now we need to assign it to the right person. Well, slew of different options here as well. You can assign it to a team, based off a category or an issue type. You can assign it to an individual person, right? So it can be a team and then an owner and then an individual within that team. You can do round robin as well. You can have a, what's the term, delegator, right? It all comes to one person and they assign it off. I mean, really the idea here is that people that work with us are 2 people, technician, help desk, all the way up to hundreds. And some like it automated, some like the idea of it just going to one person or the other. That's all built in, and it's just going to be whatever fits your requirements. You can see we also have the auto assignment aspect of it as well. Now it comes in and gets assigned. How do I notify our team that the ticket has come in? And how do I notify the end user? That's a part of the admin section as well. You can see here we have notifications for different statuses or different stages in the ticket lifecycle. These are rich text emails that give you the ability to, add rich text, right? Rich text. You can have indicators from the request in the body of the email, as well as, like I said, making it look and feel the way you want. So that's all controllable as well as a part of this admin interface. Notifications, assignment, etc. Now, one person said, do you have to use Teams? I think the question was, and no, I mean, email and that interaction is still very much alive and kicking in our help desk as well. The Teams aspect is there, but at any point in time, you could turn on or shut off the pieces of the application to make it make sense for you. Okay, so once the ticket is assigned, let's just go in and grab a ticket. We do have these dashboards fleshed out to make it easier to navigate the application, unassigned tickets, and then you're gonna see dashboards for managerial and then Workspace as well. So Workspace will be staff. And we very much rely on that what is ever equal to me mentality, right? So when I log in, it recognizes who I am and it's gonna show me a request equal to me. And that question came in earlier as well, right? Can I only show specified things to assigned end user? And absolutely. One thing I will touch on here before I get into the metadata captured in the ticket is there's a few things in the display version of this ticket that are pertinent, that I feel are pertinent. Version history, being able to see who changed the ticket, when they changed the ticket, what they said when they changed, or what was done when the ticket was changed. Being able to send an email and have it be automatically related to a request as well. This is, I find it nice, right? I find it pretty cool. It's time saver. If you think about all the time you had in copying and pasting emails from Outlook into your targeting system, it'd probably drive you nuts, right? 20 minutes a day, 52 weeks a year, right? So this gives you the ability to tie that email, sending an email from a ticket, and have it be tied to the ticket itself. I equate this to signatures, right? And Outlook on Client, being able to have kind of canned responses that you're used to typing when a certain request comes in. Again, you get the warm and fuzzies, and all it is sending an email. But now the nice thing here is that you created a thread against the particular ticket. That way, if the user responds, you're going to see the full email history related to this request, right? It's all filtered by the ID, and it gives you that full visibility into response back and forth. Work log, like we talked about, can capture the response from the engaged perspective, but then we also have that ability to capture emails. First tab, cover sheet. However the request came in. Portal, right, engage, email, this is where that information gets captured. Staff tab, who's assigned to it, what's the status of the request. Apparently this one's already been resolved, I'm sorry, and it hasn't quite hit our workflow yet when we go to one that's not resolved. Who's assigned, and due dates, things like that. Now, SLAs, building out a service level agreement with the application. Right now, it's very configurable. You have the flexibility to flesh out SLAs based off of kind of any requirements that you have internally within your organization. In about 10 minutes or so, I'm going to turn it back to James to talk about coming features with the help desk, a new iteration that we're releasing. I think he's going to talk about that in a bit more detail. So I'll kind of save that bit for then, but do know that auto population of due dates based off type of request, person of sending in the request is all possible. And like I said, I'll turn that over to James when I'm done with my bit here. Related asset. So we'll get into this in a second, but being able to relate an asset, Outlook not sending, let's say iPad and op, let's make it tied here. Being able to assign an asset to the request as well. Now, what's nice about this is that you can filter by the requester, right? So you're going to see assets related to the requester, and being able to assign the asset that they've submitted the ticket for to the request. And we'll show you the flip side here on the assets in a second. And then when we're ready to close the request, ready to resolve it, resolution notes. So this is going to be similar to the end user's interaction when they're submitting tickets. This is rich text, screenshots, copy paste, however you want to disseminate information to the user, you can. And this does come over in the notification to the user when the ticket is closed, or in this case, resolved. And what's nice about this is that for those who use KBs or want to flesh out KB articles as a part of their new help desk, you can add KBs to a request, right? And have this be sent to the user. So you saw the automation aspect of it from the engage aspect, but end users don't always read KBs or don't always do what they're asked the first time. So if we want to go back and resend them the article, you can from here. But maybe you've identified this as a potential KB moving forward that's going to be pertinent on more requests that come in. You can map certain information from the ticket into the KB article. Now, at any point in time, you can go in and you can create a KB on its own, right? Title, category, wiki content, resolution, target audience, internal or external. So that's going to be a common theme too. I'm going to talk about here in a second when we get into the other two workflows of the help desk. At any point in time, they can, the KB can be created. You can flesh out KBs, build them independent of tickets, but if you do want to take that information and create a KB, you can here as well. Okay, related items. Probably my favorite tab. You'll see it's pretty common in all of our applications. If you sit through any of our demos, it's a catch-all. It's how do we connect all of these subsequent lists in our application SharePoint site together. So I'm going to go off on a small teeny rant. Promise it'll take 30 seconds. For those who are familiar with the old on-prem days of SharePoint, there was something called repeating rows, being able to have a table view inside of a form. Well, when we shifted to Power Platform, that functionality went away, and InfoPath being its own independent tool, independent of a SharePoint list, gave us a lot more flexibility. So our development team, credit to Manish and team, they had to be creative on how we made that happen because it's something that we were used to in this environment and quite frankly required, right? Talking about approval processes specifically, we'll get into that again in a second. But being able to link multiple lists together and see them from a common parent item, in this case, the ticket, right? So email history, associated tasks, KB articles, these are all lists in the site. And now through this associated items feature in our NITRO Forms tool, our flexible forms tool, our configurable forms tool, you have the ability to make them visible here, right? Why that's important is when we're talking about parent-child relationships, you can now delineate a subset of tasks to a ticket. So let's say a new user request comes in. HR submits a new user request to IT, and they need to be added to AD. They need access to 4 applications. They need a laptop, an iPad, earbuds, right? So instead of creating 20 tickets, you create a parent item, new user ticket request, and then you can create a subset of tasks underneath it that all relate to the parent request. And all of these subtasks can now be assigned to different individuals within, well, heck, IT or really anybody. Okay, let's just type it out. So now when you log in, and not only can you see your tickets, but you can see your tasks as well. These have their own independent due dates. They have this ability to be delineated based off of the type of request that comes in. A lot of flexibility, a very nice tool to go along with the ticketing system. So that's tickets in a nutshell, right? Kind of top to bottom. I know down and dirty quick. If you want more information on anything that I talked about, reach out, ping me, okay? But I do want to save some time because I want to get through problems and change requests and then assets here as well. And I know I just want to be cognizant of that time coming in. So you can see this related problem right here. Related change request related problem. Goes back to that principle earlier of I can create a problem or a change request, like I did a KB, as my own independent entity, or I can create it from a ticket, right? So let's say a request comes in, this new ticket comes in, and it is now a change request, right? We'll get into that in a second, or it's now a problem. I have that ability through what we call custom actions, and custom actions is a part of NITRO Studio, and it's basically a manually invoked workflow. Pop-ups blocked, sorry guys. So if you think about like workflow and custom actions as 2 different sides of the same coin, workflow may be automated in that regard, where a custom action is a manually invoked workflow. I'm physically firing off a change or a problem. And in our nomenclature, problem management, sorry, for some reason I had pop-ups disabled. I don't know, network issue, let's call it network issue. So let's say you get a bunch of tickets that come in, 20, 25, 30 tickets related to a network issue, okay? And you're like, all right, I get it. So we need to be able to manage those from a parent perspective. Similar as tickets to task, problem to ticket is the same. Okay, I've created a parent problem. I've assigned all of those subsequent tickets to the problem. And now when I close the problem out, it closes all the subsequent tickets for me and notifies the end users to let them know, hey, your ticket's been resolved. So you don't have to go through and individually update them one at a time. Time saver, right? Whatever we can do to save time. Now, the other aspect of this problem management is, well, proactive, right? Tying tickets to a problem is reactive. There's no way to slow the flow. People are going to continue to reach out with this problem and submit tickets for it. But now, with this custom management feature, you can say, okay, I'm going to notify everyone. I'm going to blast everyone with an email to a distribution group or whatever it may be and say, okay, I get it. This is a network issue. We're aware of it. More or less, don't submit any more tickets, right? But like, hey, we know what's going on. We're working on it, and we'll get to you. So you do have that ability as well to be reactive as well as proactive from the problem management perspective. And then switching over to change requests, right? Change management. So similar principle, just real quick, hit the nail on the head one more time. Creating a change from a ticket or creating a change as an independent entity, right? You can always come in and create a new change request. And any one of these workflows have their own dashboards, visibility, KPIs, configurable reports as well that go along with it. You can specify your types of change, title, owner, priority, requester, right? All the kind of metadata columns that you want to have associated to the change, costs, rollback option, testing, training requirements, right? Work log, related items. Again, subtasks and tickets, that hierarchical SharePoint a list structure, right? Top level, secondary level, third level. Comes in handy with that associated items piece. Specifically when talking about approvals. So this is a change request I submitted before I hopped into the demo, and something that we use in NITRO Studio is an advanced approval app. Basically identifying a person or a group of people to approve a particular item and having that be generated automatically when that type of request is created. Vastly important, right? I feel like today in not having that multi-level approval process can be a bit of a hindrance, right? So just very quickly, I'm going to show you what that looks like in advanced approvals as a part of NITRO Studio. So if we remember back, here's our NITRO Studio interface. Here's our forms and workflows. These get a lot of love, but we've already talked about reporting and list views and email sync. So you can definitely see NITRO's hands on the application. And just remember that you do have that control and that functionality to go in and make changes. So here you go. We have an approval workflow set up on our change request list. You give the approver various options. When it's approved, deny, and set back. You can see here you can configure a slew of different approval levels, right? I mean, heck, I think one of our customers says 30. Obviously, that's a bit egregious, but there's not really a limit there. And then each approval level can have its own unique definition. A lot of flexibility. One approver, if any approver says yay or nay, 50%. Let's make it 2/3, why not, right? 10 or more, 5 or more. And so another customer of ours has a grouped approval around a new user request where they meet and they all decide on it, but a certain number of the groups have to say yay. Again, flexibility from that approval perspective. And now, as an approver, I have it linked to my approval tasks, so I can come in and say, yes, this is approved, or no, this is denied, and can be done so from the application. It can be done so through Engage, like James was saying earlier, right? I don't know why, but I can never get people to fill out the task on the form itself. They like the automation aspect of it, so the Engage is super helpful. But then also using email sync and giving them selectable buttons in email is another option too, right? So I think this is a purchase request in this regard, but same principle. Here's the information related. Go ahead and click one of these buttons. We parse that email title, title of the email using email sync, and then any notes they add, get added to the change. Right, so now we're making it easier for the approval processes to happen and all be tracked again from that common interface. Super handy. Okay, tickets, right? Now let's shift over to assets. And I'm gonna close some tabs out here because I work better when I'm not cluttered. So now we're gonna shift away into the asset tracking aspect, Okay, so now we have our tickets come in, and we have our asset management tool. Asset registry, right? Keeping track and managing and maintaining our assets. So you can see here, I've been adding assets in as we go. We have some dashboards and reports built out related to our assets. And then we can track all the metadata associated to the asset. Now, common questions I get before I get too far into this, walking through what metadata we're capturing on an asset, because honestly, everyone's data points when it relates to an asset are their own. We have some ones that come out of the box, as you can see on the screen already, but a few of the big questions people hit or want to hit during the asset demos is, how can I add assets into the system, right? How do I add assets into the system, I should say, and can you bulk update? Yes, bulk update, absolutely. CSV, Excel file, integrations as well as a possibility, but there's a slew of different ways to get your current setup of assets from whatever iteration they're being held in into our application. Yeah, that's one. Two-way data sync, the Crow Canyon tool. It's something that we use to flesh out connections with SCCM, Landsweeper, Intune's becoming more and more prominent in today's space as well, right? So there are connection options to integrate with those tools as well and update the asset registry here within the asset application, right? Being able to pull that data in and populate this list. So you're like, oh, hey Ryan, I don't have that. I just want to be able to create assets, bulk add assets. That's a possibility as well. That mindset again, okay, all right, Ryan, we get it. But yeah, okay, asset parent to child relationship, right? So in the application, we have an asset type list. So, like for those familiar, in the back of the tool, site contents, I can find my list or the app admin center, and I go to asset type. Basically, that's the parent structure. And it's like, okay, why is this pertinent or why is this important, right? And it's exactly that, being able to replicate assets or being able to bulk create asset types. So let's say you buy 10 new assets, 10 new Dell laptops for the new hires, and you don't want to have to go in and add them one at a time. You can say, okay, hold on, ahead of myself here. This asset with all of this metadata that we have and we know and we're tried and true is here, and now I just want to create 10 more of these. I can replicate it, right? I can mass create as many as I want and not have to go in and manually add these one at a time. Because we all hate, manual data entry. Well, not all of us. I do, so maybe I'm projecting a little bit. But most of us will go out on a limb and say we don't want to have to go in and tediously add in each line item, right? So you do have that ability to copy information over from that parent asset type list and automatically create individual assets in the list. Connect those two together. Now, the other important aspect of asset type is maintenance schedule and preventative maintenance. So when we look at this Dell laptop, and now we get into the metadata associated to the laptop, one of those things that we're capturing on this asset form is maintenance, preventative maintenance, right? Well, it's two aspects. Here we can see related tickets. So any tickets opened up against this asset will be shown here, as well as any maintenance tasks. And the definition around our maintenance schedule is really quite impressive. I think I have one. I configured one earlier. I think it was on the desktop. Give me a sec, guys. Let me reset. Yeah, here we go. And yeah, every September on the last Friday. So I'm sorry, I'm laughing at myself because I was making it ridiculous. But basically your maintenance schedule, this is another question that comes up commonly. So yeah, talking originally about getting assets into the system, two of the big things are, bulk adding or importing, absolutely there. And then another one that comes up is preventative maintenance. So as a part of that asset type list, we can be very granular with how often we need to maintain these assets, right? So is it daily, is it weekly, is it monthly, or is it yearly? And then you can see I was being a tad silly, right? The first weekday of February, you can create a ticket or create a task inside of the application to track it. Flexibility is there. This is a new feature for us, and quite honestly, it's pretty cool to have that flexibility, because now when we rope in the associated items piece, this table view, you can theoretically have as many maintenance schedules as you can related, or as you want related to an asset. So I come from the car world, right? A and B services. Think of it in that regard, right? Maybe you maintain them once a year at the top level, but then they need to come in each quarter for a checkup, right? And now you have that flexibility to do so. And that's why the asset type is important, right? Because now we can start to flesh out that granularity and those tasks related to those assets. And not only can they create maintenance tasks, but they can also create tickets too. It's kind of dealer's choice in that regard. So you want to create a recurring ticket template based off of the maintenance of an asset and have it be assigned to a particular person based off that maintenance schedule, by all means, right? And then everything else really in the asset list is data points, right? You know, here's that asset type and the subsequent information associated to it, being able to assign, you know, a user, a location, a building to the asset, contracts and contract service days, I'll get into in a second, finance, you know, depreciation method, vendor, image, you know, things like that can be added to the asset, as well as any related items, catch-all, manuals, warranties, contracts. So if you also want to use this as a document repository tool, you absolutely can, right? But two other pieces here, and then I'm going to turn it over to questions. I'll let you guys go. Check in and check out. So I mentioned it earlier. Is this one assigned to anybody? Well, let's create an asset. Let's do this. Let's walk through the exercise. All right, I'm going to create a new, I don't know what I created, Dell desktop, right? Okay, so now I want to assign it to somebody. I want to check it in or check it out. Here's our new asset. So custom actions, workflows. You saw the automated workflow just there, the custom action in real time, right? You saw that happening. I ran the workflow, I created the item. We also have this as a check-in, check-out feature. So let's say this is a transient asset, or maybe it's, you know, with someone for their life at the company, but you can either say, okay, this is due next week, or this is due in a year, whatever it may be. Now we have a full history of any time this asset changed hands, who had it, how long they had it for, any tickets related to the asset in that time that they had it, and being able to drill down and see any comments related to the asset as well. And then the associate notifications that go along with it, right? Changing expected check-in dates, check-out dates, things like that, right? Yeah, last piece. I'm sorry, I lied. Contracts and vendors, software assets. So again, asset is the parent registry, and then all of these subsequent pieces feed into them. My goal today was to give you a down and dirty on the asset tool. If you're interested in software assets, vendors, contracts, and how they relate to the application, I would suggest coming and chatting with me independently, because we can spend an hour on assets alone. We can spend an hour on help desk alone, and really get into the nitty gritty. So yeah, if that's the case, shoot me an email, let me know, talk to Krista, talk to James. They'll get you set up with a call and a demo. And then, yeah, we'll keep chugging. But there, Krista, I know I'm right at the 5-minute mark for opening up to questions. So I'm going to turn it back to you for contacts, things like that. And we'll keep chugging.
All right, sounds good. I think yeah, it looks like Krista's on mute. Oh, there she's good now. But real quick before we Chris, I'll go ahead and make you presenter. As I do want to bring up the contacts page, and I'll let you kind of close things out. But I did want to talk about real quickly some of the things we have coming down the line for
sorry,
help
James,
desk.
I'm an idiot.
No, you're good. You're good. It's fine. You're good. No, so some of the things we had some questions about, SLA, does it follow ITIL standards? Well, I think you can see that we got the problem and change management situation going. But as far as SLAs, you can build them with the workflows we have today, but we're going to be releasing a much more robust SLA policy builder kind of situation where you can have really complex, robust policies, but of course it's going to make it really easy for anyone who just wants to have a simple default policy for all tickets to put that in place. But you can also get into really nitty-gritty granular details with policies if you want to. So that's a really exciting development we're going to have coming out later this year. So we're really excited to get that going for our customers. We had some questions about API support. We have that in there. We have REST APIs and workflows. We have external data columns that connect over to SQL databases. So there's a lot of external connections here outside of the Teams integration that we talked about a lot today. So there's a lot of connectivity there. Just hitting a couple of questions we had. And just real quick on some of the other features we have, because I know we only have a few minutes here. We're going to be releasing a survey feature where you can get a more robust survey sent out to your customers to get the feedback on how well their tickets were handled, how well certain staff are doing. We're going to have metrics around that, of course. Those are probably the two big ones, the SLAs and the surveys. There's going to be a few other, a lot of like minor updates we're going to be doing as well, coming along the line there as well. But those are kind of the two big ones. Surveys and SLAs are going to be pretty huge additions to the help desk tool, which we hope to have before the end of the year. Yeah, great. So with that, I'll go ahead turn back over to Krista. We got a few minutes. If we can answer a few questions, we can. But let's go ahead and turn over to Krista for closing comments, and we'll address any open questions if we have time.
Thanks a lot, James. Yeah, that was great. I know that was so much to kind of digest in 1 hour, and we really powered through to try to squeeze in as much as possible. But James, Ryan, Manish, that was wonderful. I saw so many questions coming in, so I know we would love to sit down with you virtually and answer your questions in a bit more detail. I know everyone has a unique setup. Every organization has its own unique needs, and that's our specialty, is making things work for you. So reach out. I've got a slide up here with our contact info. You can email us at sales@crowcanyon.com, or you can give us a call, 925-478-3110, or just go to our website at crowcanyon.com, and just in the upper right, there's a little contact us button. You can check that out, and we would love to chat with you, schedule some time, and answer your more in-depth questions and really get into the nitty-gritty with you. So with that, thank you again for joining us today, and we look forward to hearing from you. We'll also go ahead and send out a recording of today's webinar. So if you have any questions listening to it again or anything like that, again, don't hesitate to reach out. We appreciate you and hope you have a great day.